You're starting to get the hang of PKing, so now let's find out the best hunting grounds. In this video, we'll be going over some of the most profitable and active Revenant Cave spots to PK at. Now the spots we'll be going over are not ranked in any particular order, though I will be going over my personal favorites towards the end of the video. And let's just get started from the lowest wilderness to the highest wilderness on the left side of the Revenant Cave. Now to start off, we'll be going over Revenant Imps located at about 20 wilderness. The demographic you'll find here are a bunch of naked people and or some group Iron Men who really want to do just some low risk Revenant PKings. Here's where I like to stand because we're out of the range of the Imps, as well as we could see every PVMer that might be here as we world hop. But do pay attention to around this area because you may find many PKers trying to world hop, as this is a very active location to find actual PKers. When it comes to Revenant Goblins at 20 Wild, you can expect a similar hunting experience, though I did see some tankier PVMers in D-Hide, and the PK population isn't nearly as high or risky as it is as Imps. Now here's where I like to stand while I do my world hopping because, again, you can easily get the teleblock while staying out of range of those goblins. Now Hobgoblins are when you really start to get into the meat of the Rev Caves. Here you'll find an active PVMer population with lower level PKers, though the world hopping spot is a bit weird because the aggro range on these Hobgoblins are a bit long and I don't want to wear a Revenant Cave bracelet. Southern Orks is one of the most active PVMer and PKer hotspots in the Revenant Caves. Here you'll find a range of PVMers and varying tankiness, but all kills will be relatively difficult due to its wilderness level as well as its proximity to the Revenant Cave entrance. As for the PK population, you can find anywhere from max mains to peers at this location. Here's my chosen spot of world hopping, but you can also world hop up here or over here. Southern Demons is one of my favorite PK spots. It's deeper wild than Orks, which means we have a much more likely chance of getting the kill. Also, Prey usually isn't very tanky with there being a lot of bots and gold farmers and a decent amount of anti-PKers, but that's totally avoidable. Furthermore, fights with PKers aren't rare, so it's the perfect balance for myself. Now if you take this path coming to the world hop area, you should avoid aggro, and this is where I get my teleblocks. Northern Orks is another one of my favorite spots that I go to if Demons or Southern Orks just hasn't been doing me justice. It's pretty dangerous over here with there being many high-level anti-PKers, regular PKers, and even a lot of Din's Bulwarks. But usually, even though the kills are a bit hard to get, the loot is pretty fat, so sometimes you might want to come up here. This is where I get my teleblocks in the middle of the two Revenants while also staying out of range. Now at Pyrefiends, you can usually find a farm of naked bots with about 100k loot or the occasional PVMer with a bit more. Now this place is pretty inactive for both PVMers and PKers, so I would honestly recommend another place. And the world hop location, again, pretty straightforward. Dark Beasts are one of the riskier places I occasionally like to frequent. I like it over here because usually you can get some good loots, given the players are a bit tankier and harder to kill. But a plus side to this is we're pretty deep in the wilderness, so it's going to take them a while to get to the exit. Also, I've had a couple good fights over here, so that's always a plus as a PKer. Now this is where I stand to get my teleblocks, but you can also stand below the 30 wilderness line, which might be safer. If we turn our attention a little bit north, over at the Cyclops and Demons is a spot that I like to go to when I'm just not catching any teleblocks. It's above 30 wilderness, so naturally they can't teleport, and we're also pretty deep in the wilderness, so we should have ample time to attack our opponents. Moreover, PKers aren't extremely common here, but I have had an occasional fight, which that is pretty fun. And here is where I like to do my world hopping, just make sure to take this path. So now we'll be taking a look at the upper right hand side of the Revenant Caves. Pyrefiends usually has some low levels that should be really easy to kill unless of course they have the shortcut. That shortcut requires a ridiculous amount of agility levels, so I don't expect you to have it. Now this is where I usually world hop, but occasionally I will hop over here and if I want to take a look at Hellhounds as well as Pyrefiends. Now, you won't find many PKers at Pyrefiends, but just north there is a PKer presence of many high levels, so keep that in mind. It might be a bit dangerous and or fun, depending how you look at it. Up next, we got Hellhounds, where you can expect to find some higher levels and tankier gear. They also might have the agility shortcut, so keep that in mind. Another thing that I've noticed is that above 30 wild on this side of the Rev Caves has a lot of maxers and or streamers, so be careful. Dragons are probably the most dangerous PK spot in all of the Rev Caves. Here's the heart of anti-PKer and Crystal Alien territory, and I wouldn't be too surprised if you found your good share of Din's Bulwarks as well. PK here if you're in max or just ballsy and good at KOs. Last but not least, we'll be going over the Revenant Knights. I'll be honest, I've never actually PK'd here, but I have done some world hopping in this area, and the present PVMers that I did see told me that PKers aren't too common, but anti-PKing definitely is, so be careful of that. Now, as expected, everyone up here was a higher level, and if not a max level. Some of my personal favorite spots for my combat level are Southern Orks and Southern Demons. Just in these two places, I can almost always find enough PVMers and PKers to attack for the time I'm on. Now you know the best places to PK. Check out this video to learn the best KO weapons.